Working at a place like this suits a bum like you with no family. My classmate, Alex Thompson, insulting me while I was working part-time at the convenience store. But in the next moment, smack. The sound of a slap echoed through the quiet store. You apologize right now. Alex's father showed up and furiously hit his son, who had been bullying me. When I found out the reason, I just cried. My name is Steve Johnson. After losing both my parents in a car accident when I was young, I had no family and moved from one place to another. I was passed around among relatives. At first, my relatives were kind, but it must be tough to raise someone else's child. When it was time to move to the next place, they would send me off with a cheerful "I take care." But I was never told, "You're always welcome to come back." After changing homes so many times, I learned how to live without bothering anyone. When I was in the 8th grade, for some reason, I ended up staying with a couple in their 50s, John and Mary Smith. The Smiths both had law degrees and were busy practicing law until a few years ago. Now they had both retired and were living peacefully. I couldn't understand why they even took me in. I wasn't even related to them. Regardless of the reason, given the chance, I really wanted to stay with them forever. Because this is the town where I grew up and lived with my parents until they died in the accident. When I walk down the streets, good memories always come back. How long will I be able to stay with the Smiths? Reflecting on everything, I promised myself to live quietly and not be a burden until it was time to leave. Contrary to my thoughts, the Smiths were incredibly kind and treated me like real family. "Steve, let's go fishing together." "Steve, what would you like for dinner today?" I hadn't had conversations like these since my parents passed away. I remembered that a real family could be this warm. Gradually, I began to open up to the Smiths. When I reached 9th grade, John asked me about my future plans. "I'll start working after middle school, so please let me stay here until I can support myself." I didn't hesitate to express my intention to get a job. "We think of you as real family, Steve. You can stay here as long as you want, and don't worry about money. Think about what you really want for your future seriously." John's kindness was overwhelming. His words made me happy, but I had never really thought about my future before. I had only focused on becoming independent as quickly as possible to avoid being a burden, so I didn't really know what I liked or wanted to do. Seeing that I was struggling to find a path, John smiled and said, "What you need, Steve, is time to figure things out. Even if you go to high school, you can work part-time if you want, or study hard if that's what you prefer." The Smiths truly thought about what was best for me. They enrolled me in high school so I would have more opportunities for my future. When I started high school, I met Alex Thompson again. Alex was a schoolmate back in elementary school. We weren't in the same class back then, so we hardly ever talked. But when we got in the same class in high school, Alex started bullying and being mean to me. Alex was part of a group of the popular kids, and soon he got others involved in picking on me. Without parents, I have always been an easy target for bullying at school. So I knew better than to react in situations like this. If I ignored them, they would eventually get bored. I decided to ignore him, but Alex kept finding ways to bother me. My stress kept building up. And my nightmare high school life started. About a month after I started high school, John asked me how things were going. "I'm having fun. Thanks for sending me to high school, John." I definitely wasn't planning to say anything bad about high school. After all, I don't want to worry the Smiths. I made up my mind that once I start high school, I would use the time the Smiths gave me to try out different things. I wanted to see what I was capable of. The idea I came up with to give back to the Smiths, even a little, was to get a part-time job at a convenience store. I want to earn my own money, and I thought I could meet different kinds of people working at a convenience store. They were genuinely happy for me. I was worried about whether I could handle customer service, having lived my life trying not to stand out, but I managed it easier than I expected. My coworkers were college students, housewives, and a 65-year-old man. From the stories they shared, I realized that my experiences so far were just a drop in the bucket. They all said the same thing. Once you're out in the real world, most people have to live by the company's rules or worry about what others think, so enjoy your freedom while you can. The advice from those who have lived longer carries weight. I felt that starting this job had helped me mature. One day, a high school girl named Emily joined as a new part-timer. She's a quiet girl, but we're the same age, lived nearby, and had the same route home, so we quickly became friends. Talking with Emily on the way home from work became one of my favorite things. I usually did most of the talking, but Emily was a good listener and occasionally made comments. I really enjoyed spending time with her. I used to live here. I stopped and pointed at a place that was now an empty lot. Oh, really? Emily looked genuinely surprised. I told her about how my parents died in a car accident when I was in first grade, how I had moved from one school to another, and how I was now living here again with a kind couple who took me in. Emily thought for a moment, then looked me straight in the eye and said, "I'm glad you came back to this town, Steve." I didn't think much about the meaning of her words, but they made me really happy. One day during break, Alex came up to my desk. "I heard your parents died in a car accident. They probably ran a red light or something. People who don't follow the rules deserve to die. And now you're just crashing at someone's place, right? You got passed around by your relatives, and now some strangers take you in? That's totally sketchy. Maybe they're planning something bad. Man, your life is really messed up." Alex said this loudly, grinning, making sure everyone could hear. I had ignored his taunts until now, but this was too much. He insulted my parents and the Smiths, and I lost it. "You don't know anything, so shut up." Before I knew it, I had grabbed Alex by the collar. "Steve, calm down." My friend held me back, and I snapped out of it, my fists trembling as I took a deep breath. The entire classroom fell silent. Alex was shocked that I had finally fought back. "What's your problem?" "It's the truth." Alex spat out, then returned to his seat. Struggling to control my anger, I grabbed my bag and left the classroom. It's too early to go home. I sat down on the riverbank and stared blankly at the water. The sound of birds, the flowing water, and the rustling grass. An ordinary day unfolded before me. I used to walk here with Mom and Dad. Memories from the past come flooding back. All the memories of when my parents were alive were happy ones. Picnics, camping, playing at the park. I wondered what kind of person I would have become if my parents were still alive. I started to think about it but quickly stopped. How long had I been sitting here? The sun, which had been directly over my head, was now shining on me from my right side. Guess it's time to go back home. Feeling completely calm again, I returned home to the Smiths. "I'm home. Welcome back." "Steve, do you have a moment?" Mary, who greeted me, said. I followed Mary into the living room where John was sitting on the couch. "I'm home. Welcome back." "Steve, your homeroom teacher called before noon, saying you skipped school today. What happened?" "I'm sorry about it." I hesitated about whether I should mention Alex. John and Mary were looking at me with worried expressions. I realized I shouldn't lie to them. Right after I started high school, Alex, who used to be my schoolmate from elementary school, started bullying me. I told them everything that had happened up until now, including what happened today. "I see. Steve, you're brave. Thanks for telling us. You don't need to be alone about this, we're here for you, okay? Steve, whether it's something happy or something tough, talk to us about anything. We're family." After listening to my story, they said this and comforted me. Since that fight, Alex bothered me less and less. However, one day after work, as Emily and I were leaving the convenience store as usual, someone called out to us. "Ah, the last person I want to see, Alex. Working at a place like this suits a bum with no family like you." He started insulting me right in front of Emily. I silently glared back at Alex. "Just then, what do you think you're doing?" A man, furious, slapped Alex hard on the back of his head. Alex, shocked, turned around. Dad. The man was Alex's father. While Alex was too stunned to speak, his father came up to me and apologized. I got a call from Mr. Smith the other day. He told me my son Alex has been bullying you, Steve. And now this. I'm truly sorry. But that wasn't the end of it. The truth is, we owe a lot to Mr. Smith. Back when Alex was in first grade, I ran a liquor store, and on my way back from a delivery, I got into a car accident. 2 people died in that accident. Those were your parents. Alex stood beside his father and said it harshly. My mind couldn't process what I was hearing for the first time. Alex's father looked down for a moment, then raised his head and continued. That's right. Steve, your parents ran a red light, trying to block incoming cars to save a child who ran and stopped in the middle of the street. I wasn't speeding, but it all happened so fast that I couldn't avoid them. I'm truly sorry. Alex's father looked pained, and I could see his arms trembling as he clenched his fists. People around me suspected that I was speeding. It was bad enough causing the accident, but being accused made me feel completely broken. It was Mr. and Mrs. Smith who helped me through that time. To summarize what he said next. In that accident, Alex's father asked John to represent him as his lawyer. It turns out that the Smiths were both senior members to Alex's father's college club, and they had known each other well for a long time. They listened to him with great care, gathered evidence to show that the accident was unavoidable, and handled everything. He was deeply grateful to the Smiths for clearing up the misunderstandings, allowing him to continue living with his family and keep the liquor store running. But after the accident, false rumors spread, and the Thompson family's reputation went down the drain. Even after reopening the store, very few to no customers came, and Alex was bullied at school. He began to spill everything out. But thanks to Mr. Smith, we were able to return to a normal life. Alex's father tried to calm him down, but Alex shouted, "Why did they run the red light?" Dad was following the rules, and people blamed him. It was so hard for me. Dad's not at fault. It seemed like Alex was venting the frustration he had felt for so long. Alex's father realized how much pain he had caused his son, even though he was so young, and it broke his heart. Alex, I'm sorry. You were still too young, I thought you forgot about the accident. Let's go home and talk it over. Alex's father spoke gently to him. Then, he tried his best to sincerely apologize, placed his hand on Alex's back, and they slowly walked away together. Steve. Emily, who had been listening to everything, spoke up from behind. Steve, your parents were in that accident because they tried to protect me. I was speechless at Emily's sudden confession. According to Emily, on the day of the accident, she was in the first grade and was walking her dog. While she was at an intersection, her dog suddenly ran across the road because it tried to chase a bird. Emily accidentally let go of the leash and then ran after her dog, chasing it onto the road. Just then, the loud blare of a horn sounded, and a truck was coming from her right. When Emily realized what was happening, a crushed car with a man and a woman were next to her. Those people were my mom and dad. Witnesses said they rushed and drove in front of the truck to protect Emily and her dog. She later found out that both the man and woman in the car who saved her had passed away. Emily's parents went to apologize, but Emily was so traumatized by the accident that she doesn't want to go out and stop talking for some time. By the time Emily was able to go outside again, I had already been taken in by relatives, and no one lived in the Johnson home anymore. Emily spent years feeling guilty for never having the chance to apologize. When you talked about your parents, I had a feeling it might be them, and after hearing that man's story, I'm sure of it. I'm so sorry it took me so long to apologize. Thanks to your parents, I'm alive and well today. Thank you so much. Emily sincerely apologized. When I got home, I told the Smiths everything I had heard that day. I truly respect your parents, Steve. It's not something just anyone can do, to risk their lives to protect someone else's child. Even though I was involved in this case as a lawyer, I always felt a deep need to protect you, Steve, who was born to such incredible parents. That's why we decided to take you in. The Smiths had always been concerned about me, knowing I was left all alone. There were times I thought I was unhappy because my parents left me alone. But because my parents gave up their lives to save someone, I was able to live with the Smiths, go to high school, work, and meet Emily, the girl they saved. Everything connected like a single line, and I became confident that I could live bravely from now on. From that day on, Alex never bullied me again. No one else ever bothered me. The atmosphere in the class became more relaxed, and I finally got to enjoy the peaceful high school life I had always wanted. During my senior year, I quit my part-time job at the convenience store to focus on studying for college entrance exams. After hearing stories from the college students I worked with, I decided to go to college too. I wanted to study law. In the future, I want to become a lawyer like Mr. Smith and help people. And then, the end of the school year came. I got accepted into college. And so did Emily. Actually, we've been dating since our junior year of high school. Steve, let's go and visit our former workmates from the convenience store, let's tell them that we got accepted. Emily said that and started running along the riverbank. I don't know if it was fate, but we met each other. And after learning about the past, I became determined to cherish myself and live with hope for the future. From now on, I'll continue to live my life to the fullest, proud of my parents who risked their lives to save others. With that in mind, I started running along the riverbank where I used to walk with my parents.